Yeah, again, thank you guys for being here today, Senator and Congressperson. And my question is, I guess, for both of you, but specifically Senator Sanders. I'm from a low-income first-gen student as well, from rural West Virginia and from Appalachia, which you're quite familiar. You recently were talking to my people at tables and trying to hear them out and understand their experience in the world as low-income, hardworking Americans and kind of the rural working class. And so my question to you from like Appalachian and for my people is that recently in West Virginia, a bill passed, House Bill 2014, which was essentially allowing the aggressive incoming of quote high-impact data centers into rural America, into West Virginia communities, because most of our communities are depressed coal towns, and so we really don't have an economy. The narrative in my state is that our economy will then be replaced by these quote AI data centers. And my question to you is, like, do you really think that these new data centers will really be the source that will resurrect the economies of rural America, or do you think that working class Americans like my people will actually be lifted out of poverty from this to revive these depressed coal towns, or are my people being once again tricked by the wealthiest Americans and by the right in Congress and in the West Virginia broadly? Are they misunderstanding these data centers and their roles? And if you're in opposition to these arguments, what are the pathways and messaging into letting my people and my community know the realities and the effects on their everyday lives?
Wow. All right, two things. I think the evidence is pretty clear. Data centers create a good number of construction jobs. Right? It takes a lot of work to build these data centers, and workers do that work, and it creates those jobs. The evidence is also pretty clear that once the data centers are up, the number of jobs are fairly minimal. Okay? And then depending on the location, in some areas actually, some companies actually want subsidies from the local community to come in. There are, in many instances, increase in electric rates, pressure on water systems, etc. West Virginia, I've been to West Virginia many times. Yeah. And I went to the community, to Mingo County. You know what Mingo County is? All right. And this was a county that voted overwhelmingly for Trump. Trump won West Virginia by about 70%, Mingo County by 74%. And I deliberately went into the county where Trump did the best, because I wanted to talk to the very decent and good people in your state. And what I found in a state that went overwhelmingly for Trump is they did by and large because there was no alternative, no political alternative. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this one, but one of the issues that we have got to understand where we are politically in America is, in my view, most working class people are not racists, they're not sexist, they're not homophobes. Most working people are desperate. They have looked at the Democratic Party for a long time. They've listened to the rhetoric, and still they can't afford health care, can't afford to send their kids to college, can't afford groceries or housing. And in desperation, they say, oh, to hell with that, I'll roll the dice, I'll go with Trump. And that is certainly the case in West Virginia, where the Democratic Party virtually does not exist. So my hope is, if you're going back to your home state, they are in desperate need of good leadership. Help build a political movement which will represent the great working people of West Virginia. Make sure that we have a moratorium on data centers in general, and help build a political party there that can represent your constituents.
I would just echo that. I love how you talk about your love for your people. And I would say, when you're done with Stanford, you're going to get tons of offers from the Bay Area and New York. Go back to your hometown. Go back to West Virginia if you can, and get involved in politics. I think you'll make a big difference. On the substance of it, the reality is, I talked about the $18 trillion in my district. We have a lot of data centers. That's not how we built the wealth. It is being lazy for political figures to say, oh, I brought in a data center, now we're going to create new jobs here. We need a far more comprehensive approach. I've called for a Marshall Plan for America, advancement advanced investment in manufacturing, in childcare, in elder care, in tech centers, in trade schools, to actually have economic development, not just say, okay, we're going to get a data center and somehow create good paying jobs in communities like West Virginia.
Howdy.